Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go through taking that MX7 data where we've done the trajectory processing through a Planix POSPAC. Have a look at the last video if you didn't watch through that one. And the next component is taking it into Trimble Business Center or TBC in order to associate all of the imagery that we've captured with the MX7 with the same timestamping as the trajectory holds, but it's now been corrected into the right position with that post-processing. And then we're going to export that so that we can push it into our Trimble MX publisher. So getting into the second step of this process. So I'll fire up TBC. Just fire that up onto the wrong screen, but that's okay. Okay, so in this case, empty project screen. We'll just go to starting a new project, and I'm going to grab a metric template. If you're a frequent TBC user, you probably set up some templates that work to the coordinate systems that you operate in and have some other settings in your projects as well that help to make the work a little bit faster. What we're going to do is set the coordinate system. So I've just come up to the project settings in the top quick access toolbar, and I'll come down to coordinate system. In this case, I'm going to change mine to GDA 2020 zone 55. So change that to the zone and the coordinate system that you're working in. And we'll hit OK there. And hit save. And once again, I've already created my folder there, and I'll go and save it with today's date. Now, next up, we go to import. We navigate to that same folder just here, and we don't have to go any deeper than that directory. That's the one what we want, that TMX folder, and we'll say OK. Because for the import to TBC, we're wanting to grab this Trident database file, and this really links all of the imagery from camera 4, which is our spherical camera up the top, and it also triggers a search for that SBET file I mentioned in the last video that was generated from our POSPAC processing. And if this has worked successfully in looking for that file, then just down here under the settings, we'll see that it has gone and found that. If I expand this so we can really see that path length, and we see it's in the same folder, desktop, this TMX for that particular mission, POSPAC folder that I created here, and then all the way down here, we've got SBET _ mission 1 out. And that's what's going to be used. That's our corrected trajectory. And we're going to link all of the images back onto that so they're in their corrected position. I don't want to generate the imagery and make it available for TBC. That will generate a type of imagery called cubicle. And it takes quite a long time to process the raw camera information into those cubicle images. It does mean we could do some light duty digitizing in TBC, but my end goal is to get it through into POSPAC. Get it through into Trimble MX. So I'm going to leave that as no, and we'll hit import. Okay. Go, and I'll hit save once again. Now, it doesn't have all of the information that we saw in the last video of the trajectory. In this case, it's just showing us where we actually did our data capture. And so when we were in POSPAC in the last video, we saw the whole initialization sequence. Now we haven't needed to bring that in. We're just interested in where those images were. And in this case, it's got a stamp at where that was. and we had a couple of little runs through there. Don't really need to do much in here. So we'll go to export, and because we've got some mobile mapping data in here, when we're in the export panel, you can see that there's a mobile mapping option here. And what we want to do is export all of this MX7 data and export it to Trimble MX. And so just in our Project Explorer, I like to select it from here and select those two unnamed runs. We could fill these panoramas with GPS attributes, so this will embed a little bit of extra metadata against each individual image. So if they've separated from the rest of the data that we generate, we can do that as well. And just makes it a little bit more usable as an individual image as well, potentially. If you wanted to drop it into something like Google Earth, you might be able to get it in the right spot there. We've got some clever image recognition tools here, so we can blur people and we can blur vehicles as well. In doing this, you need to make sure that your PC does have an NVIDIA card of a decent specification, and that's available in the help file. You can either hit F1 or you can hit the help up here. Just for speed, I'll leave that alone for now. What I will do though is I'm wanting to generate all of this into a I might make a subfolder, and so I'll just come into desktop and I'll make one called ready for, actually I'll just call it TMX export from TBC. Enter, and we'll hit save there, export. Now, this starts this background process, and it starts generating the images from there. If we have a look at, while it's doing that, we'll go back to here and open up this. These are the raw image files that we could see here. If I turn on details, there we go, get this. So as it's these PGR files are the main ones. And so I had a couple of missions, and so I've got a couple of these PGR files. So they're being unpacked at the moment, and they're being turned into a format called equirectangular that we like to use for Trimble MX. So I'll hit pause, and in the next video, we'll go and make these ready for consumption into Trimble MX. So I'll hit pause and I'll just have a look at these once they're finished so that you can see what it should be generating at the culmination of that processing as well. So we can see there it's finished doing its export. Come back into this. Really don't need to have TBC anymore, but we'll just hit save and we can close out of there as well. Okay, that finishes up the TBC component. We'll just have a look in here. And I created this TMX export from TBC. So see here, we get these equirectangular images. They're in JPEG format now. You just open those up and have a look there. We can see data capture, and it's just stretched them out in that type of formatting. We also get a CSV with all the information around the trajectory, and a CSV of all the panoramas with their exposure points. Now, if I'm correct, go to the properties of this, details. We get this embedded in here as well from that, that processing. If we hadn't clicked that on in TBC, then we wouldn't get that GPS information embedded into there. So just one extra thing that might be valuable depending on the application for it. We'll hit stop there, and the next video will cover off the Trimble MX uploader that really just gives us a way of pointing the publisher to all of these images so they can be consumed from publisher and available on the web, which should play after this.